Hello, everyone. My name is Declan Johnson. I'm a first year university's honor student and a computer science major. And I'd like to share with you human endurance in Battlestar Galactica. Now, I chose this project because I've always loved Battlestar Galactica. It's one of my favorite science fiction stories. Set several tens of thousands of years in past, Battlestar Galactica is the story of the last surviving humans as they fight against the Cylons, a machine race which they created to act as menial laborers and slaves. However, the Cylons would rebel, and in a series of devastating nuclear attacks by the Cylons, they would drop the human population from several billion to only 50,000, forcing the remnants of humanity to run to the stars in a ragtag fleet comprised of mostly civilian vessels and the Battlestar Galactica itself, an old but capable space carrier and battleship. Now, watching this series, I became interested in the endurance and the resilience which is displayed throughout it. And specifically, I became interested in how humor shows this resilience and endurance. What I did was I selected three different points of humor from the miniseries and the first episode of the series proper, and I applied to them the three main humor theories of relief, superiority, and incongruity to find how these humor theories help to expose the true endurance and resilience of the characters in these situations. Now, I'll also be applying additional information pertaining to sleep deprivation and the effects of stress which the characters have to endure in one of these examples to better explain the humor theory's application. Now, in the first application that I did was a humor example from the first part of the miniseries. This plea, Laura Roslin, Secretary of Education, was had to take up the mantle of leader after the devastating attacks by the Cylons. Doral, however, Aaron Doral, was a firm critic of hers, as he did not believe that she had the capability as the Secretary of Education to handle situations such as this. However, Captain Dama thought otherwise. Aaron Burlesi turned to Captain Dama as he was a military man. He believed that he could better lead the situation. Captain Dama went to Rosalind. However, he saw within her a capability to lead, the ability to save humanity and to guide humanity. After seeing some of her goals and what she was doing, Captain Dama turns to Doral and says, "Ladies in charge," to the dissatisfaction of Doral. Now, superiority theory is applicable here, since it is humorous that Doral made a fool of himself. But this also shows an exceptional level of endurance on the part of Rosalind, since she is willing to pick up the mantle of leader in this extraordinary time of leadership, and in the process of this humiliation of Doral, she dismisses him as a critic, while also earning the respect of Captain Adama. The second example I'd like to discuss is from the second part of the miniseries, where Commander Adama, the father to Captain Adama, is forced to choose between fighting the enemy and losing the battle ultimately because he's outgunned, or running to the stars. Now, now President Laura Roslin turned to Commander Adama, had a discussion with him where she says humanity must start having babies to survive. Commander Adama then realizes that their only hope is to run. And during a tactical meeting with his officers, Commander Adama sees one of his bridge officers and a civilian flirting. And then he says to his men, they better start having babies. Out of the blue. To which his second in command hesitantly replies, "Is that an order?" Now, incongruity theory is applicable here, since Commander Adama's choice of words are completely contrary to his original goal to stay and fight. He wants to be humanity's last stand, but he understands that in order for humanity to exist, to survive as a species, he has to protect the civilians and run. And by choosing the latter option, he's choosing the more enduring option because it's the marathon, not the sprint. Yes, stay one step ahead of the enemy at all times. He knows this. He knows that he's going to be running himself and his crew thin. But it's the only choice humanity has for survival. Third humor example I'd like to discuss is from the Battlestar Galactica episode 33. Now, in this episode, the Galactica is forced, and the Galactica and the crew and the fleet at large is forced to run from the enemy every 33 minutes for 5 days straight. They're unable to sleep and they're on constant stress because the enemy, if they mess up in the running, they can be destroyed completely. However, Commander Adama and his second commander, Tigh, can keep their heads up and keep the banter going while stressed and exhausted. In one such instance, Tigh says to Adama, if the crew doesn't hate the XO, and he's not doing his job, besides, you gotta make the old man look good. George Adama replies, I always look good. Let me Tigh say, look in the mirror. Now, relief theory is most applicable in this situation, since it breaks from the sleep deprivation and stress that the two men are enduring. And this exposes the endurance of these two men because they're able to push aside all of the side effects of extreme sleep deprivation and sleep loss. Oh, sleep, exceptional amounts of sleep deprivation and stress, I should say. Moodiness, behavioral issues, and performance issues all stem from these two things, and it's only worse because they're compounded with one another. However, we're able to break out of this for a moment of a lighthearted joke, and that is truly an example of human endurance. And there are multiple examples of human endurance and resilience in Battlestar Galactica. Some of them are humorous, some of them are not. But by viewing the humorous ones through the superiority, incongruity, or relief humor theories, the audience is then better able to appreciate these moments of endurance and resilience. And this ties back to the show truly being about how far humanity can be stretched, can be beaten, and how they can keep going, keep fighting, even if it looks like defeat is inevitable. Now, this work, I hope, inspires further research into other forms of media and their portrayals of human endurance and resilience through humor or otherwise. I want to thank Dr. Murray for all of his assistance in my development of this project, and I'd like to thank all of you for giving me your time to present this. I wish you all a wonderful day, and goodbye.